working on a lap blanket, and I've been randomly doing stripes of different colors and different patterns. So I did some solid color stripes, and now I thought I'd add a little more visual interest, and so I'm doing what we call wavy lines. And all wavy lines is two picks of one color alternating with two picks of another color, and that's all it is. Now I'm making a blanket, so I'm not really beating this really hard. Would look a little bit different. I have two shuttles set up with my different colors of yarn here, and I'm using a temple, as you can see, and I'm working on my Union 36. So let me put the camera back on the stand here. Okay, so here I am again. So I've got this kind of turquoise color and this kind of pinkish, I call it carnation. I thought was kind of a nice name. I've set my loom up with floating selvages on either side. And I forgot, normally when I use a floating selvage, I wand it on with the rest of my warp, and then I just don't put it through a heddle, but I forgot to put it on this time, so I've got it hanging off the back and the front of my loom. So, and this is just a 4-ply rug yarn that I'm using, and I have a pattern for my floating selvages, so when I go in, I always go under, and when I go out, I go over. So extra yarn there. And I want to leave a generous amount here. And since I am making a blanket, I'm not really beating this hard like I would for a rug. So I have to come back. And I probably could get away with, because I have the floating selvage, without going around my blue thread, but I'm going to go ahead and catch that blue thread. So again, with my floating selvages, I always go under to go in, and you can go the other way. It's up to you, but you just want to do it consistently. Now I go 2 picks of the blue, and again I go under, over, and I want to catch my carnation thread here. Okay, so when I go back in, I'm going to go under, over. You don't have to use a floating selvage, but when you're changing colors and doing a lot of different patterns, it's a lot easier, because then you don't have to worry about always catching that outside warp thread. So, one more. And sometimes I confuse myself, so sometimes I have to just stop and look and remember which thread is going up and down, because you're not just alternating, because you're going back and forth with one color, so you just have to pay attention. Whoops. It's kind of clumsy. And under, and over. Oh, I forgot to catch that thread. Somebody told me one time that you should be consistent, so even if you're wrong, you should at least be consistently wrong. But I forgot that I wanted to catch that thread. Blue. A little too much weft out here. weft under control a little bit. There we go. Back where I want it to be. All right, it's the right shed. Yes, it's in the right shed. And I caught my outside thread, press into place, and just change colors. And of course I could decide that I wanted to change that pattern up, so you know, in the next section I could put 3 picks of blue and then 2 of the carnation. So there's no real wrong or right way, it just all has to do with where you put your picks and how many to make the different patterns. And normally I would have my temple up farther, but I left it down so you could kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so wavy lines, all it is just 2 picks of one color and then 2 picks of another color.